Hi, in this video I will go over the biggest bicycle touring myths we regularly hear about. They're strong opinions that really don't hold up to their claim, and I will set out to give you my perspective from many years of touring experience and provide insights in how you can use these myths to prepare and streamline your bicycle adventures in a better way. I will sprinkle in lots of useful tips and tricks, so let's get started in no particular order with the first one. Bicycle touring is dangerous. Let me tell you up front that bicycle touring is not inherently dangerous and is mostly safe and enjoyable for people that are prepared and well equipped. Like with any other endeavor, there are some risks and hazards you need to take into account. A potential risk of bicycle touring is the possibility of accidents or injuries while riding. This can be a concern on busy roads where cars and other vehicles may not always be aware or respectful to cyclists. It's important to stay alert and cautious while riding and to always wear a helmet and, if needs be, a reflective vest or something similar. The weather can also present challenges. This can include extreme heat or cold, rain or snow and other challenging conditions. It's important to bring appropriate clothing and gear, also supplies to keep yourself safe and sound while being out in the elements. Meeting people is one of the joys of bicycle touring, and while the vast majority are kind and hospitable, a tiny minority can pose a risk in a couple of ways. There are some that have it in for your belongings. Staying alert and taking appropriate actions in hotspot areas like big cities is key to avoid getting anything stolen. Unfortunately, there's also a minimal chance of bodily harm. That's true for life in general, and it could happen anywhere. But there are some obvious red flags, such as war zones and other conflict areas, to avoid. I would advise female travelers to be extra vigilant in countries where the man-women relationships are different from what they might be familiar with. Bicycle touring is mostly a safe and wonderful way to discover the world, and I always remind myself of the 5P rule, which states that proper preparation prevents poor performance. If you want to know more about avoiding dangers while bicycle touring, click on our How to Stay Safe video right here. Bicycle touring is difficult. People think that bicycle touring is difficult, but it's actually not much more than riding your bike a bit further than normal. A tour can range from a couple of days to many years out and about. There are some extra skills involved, like planning, logistics, and possibly camping and cooking your own food. It's not at all rocket science, and with some effort, I'm sure almost anybody is able to get the hang of it. When planning your bicycle tour, you have the freedom to choose destinations that align with your interest and skill level. Whether it's a scenic coastal route or a challenging backcountry trek or a cultural highlight, there are countless options to choose from to cater to your preferences and comfort zone. A long bicycle tour can seem daunting. A good idea is to break certain elements, depending on what type of tour you are planning to make, down in appropriate and actionable steps. As example, we did several one-week tours where we could experience the vast majority of skills needed and adjust or learn more when necessary. This way you can start with a certain level of confidence and grow as the journey progresses. You have the freedom to choose your pace and mileage that match your preference. Starting with a short daily distance and gradually increase as you build up your stamina is a good way of easing into a tour where going far is the goal. We are actually doing the opposite by riding less and enjoy what we come across more. There's also going to be bad days that make you want to stop. Again, a top tip here is to break down a long tour into manageable chunks and evaluate after having reached a certain goal. Preferably with a bit of rest and a proper meal. When well rested and well fed, I'll bet you will see your accomplishments in another daylight. To conclude here is that bicycle touring is fairly easy and open to everyone if you're willing to learn some extra skills. Most of them will come naturally when given the appropriate amount of time. Days on the bike are straightforward and it cuts out a lot of the complexities of the hassles from back home. It's actually a great way to simplify your life. If you want to get more out of your bicycle touring adventures, click on our How to Go Bicycle Touring video right here. Bicycle touring is expensive. You might think that bicycle touring is expensive considering all the equipment you need and the costs that are accumulated on the road. While the initial cost can be substantial depending on your wishes and needs, there are many ways to manage your budget before setting out on tour. A great way to cut down costs is to go wild camping. After the initial cost of the tent and sleeping gear, every night out in the tent is one night saved on hotel costs. Besides that, there is nothing better, in my opinion, than waking up at a scenic place and start your day immediately immersed in nature. Many places around the world can be more affordable than your own country. Choosing to go bicycle touring in such a destination will open up possibilities you might not have at home. In Southeast Asia, for example, we could take a simple hotel room just about every night. Because wild camping wasn't as easy as in other places, and it worked out great and we were able to get a decent amount of sleep without much hassle or cost. Instead of eating at restaurants, cooking yourself is a good way to save on expenses. By doing your own groceries, you can decide to buy affordable and quality ingredients that you can whip up into something nourishing. The cost for the stove, pots and utensils will be earned back in no time. A bicycle tour doesn't have to break the bank and can even be cheaper than living back home. Renting out your place while out on tour can be a great way to be even more cost effective. If you would like to hear more tips and tricks how to get the most out of your cycling budget, click on our bike touring budget hack video right here. Bicycle touring is done on roads. While the consensus is that the vast majority of bicycle touring is done on closed road surfaces, I believe you're missing out on some of the best things bicycle touring has to offer. And that is the peace and quiet, the challenge, and being more immersed in the natural beauty of a backcountry cycling experience. While we certainly started out riding many miles on paved surfaces, in the recent years we have been seeking out more routes through nature. Although more demanding, but also way more rewarding in my experience. The scenery is better and it's great to be able to avoid traffic, so there is less danger, noise and pollution. While being more exposed in the backcountry, it's important to choose the right equipment depending on your experience level. Extra gear can really add up, and the heavier the bike, the more difficult and harder it will be to handle over rough terrain. The key here is to build experience with continued exposure to the elements. Cycling on roads is easier though, and we're not always able to find manageable off-road routes. For long tours, we link up off-road stretches with the most remote paved roads possible. We prioritize self-sufficiency and we can be out for many days. Things like a good night's sleep are mandatory, and that all comes with a weight penalty. But we manage to find a good balance between weight and functionality. To sum it up, if you enjoy cycling on roads, that's great. If you like a bit more challenge and at the same time enjoy the natural areas up close and personal, off-road cycling can be an integral part of bicycle touring. I've tweaked my bike setup over the years to accommodate for off-road riding with a touring gear load. If you would like to check out what I think is an ideal starting point and what I call the all-around bikepacking setup, check the video right here. If you like the video so far, consider giving it a like. That really helps out the video to reach a bigger audience. So thanks for that, and now let's go to the next myth. Bicycle touring is for dedicated cyclists. Many people think that you have to be a dedicated cyclist to go on a bicycle tour. I would argue that even if you have no prior cycling experience, riding a bike is a skill most of us can start and learn fairly easy. That's why I think that bicycle touring can be open to anybody interested. You don't need to build up extensive knowledge, do regular training sessions, or be in any way associated with a cyclist community to start and enjoy bicycle touring. If you have a desire to explore and want to see the world around you, the push bike is, in my opinion, a great tool for the job. Open to the elements, cycling on your own power with just the right pace to be immersed in the experience, while still fast enough to have a good sense of progression. At home in the Netherlands, I commute to many places in my area on a frequent basis. Even after having cycled all my life, I wouldn't consider myself a dedicated cyclist though. Cycling is so ingrained in everyday life that many people don't even know how to fix a bike when there is a small problem. And it was me included for the majority of my life actually. You don't need anything fancy to start out bicycle touring. A sturdy bike with some good wheels, brakes and a nice range of serviceable gears is an adequate way to start making unforgettable adventures. Couple that with waterproof bicycle bags, some basic maintenance skills like changing and fixing an inner tube, maintaining the drivetrain and your brakes, and you're mostly set to go. So you don't have to be into bicycles or cycling to get into bicycle touring. My conclusion is that bicycle touring is for everybody, and it doesn't depend on experience, budget or a particular goal, and is generally safe and a highly enjoyable undertaking that will add valuable experiences to anyone's life. If you would like to have a little bit more bicycle touring inspiration, check out the video popping up right here. Thanks for watching, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you out on the road.